You are listening to the WEEM Weekly Podcast. My name is Dylan, and I recently got to sit down with Miss Jackie Brown, who runs the theater department here at the high school. So without any further ado, here is that interview. What does a typical rehearsal look like, and how has that kind of rehearsal changed because of these sicknesses?
Well, we usually run between about 5:30 to 8:30 each night. And the first, I'd say 15, 20 minutes, we are kind of going over basic notes and that kind of thing. Most of the kids by that time should have microphones on. And so then we'll go through, and right now we're running the whole show. So we will be running a number, and then maybe there's a problem. And if we've got a kid missing, we'll sometimes have one of our stage managers step in. Maddie Roots is our stage manager, and Parker Brown is our fly rail manager. Both serve as the guide backstage. And they'll sometimes step in and just go through the lines or say the part so that the actor has someone to talk to and react with.
Yeah. And do they typically run their lines at home if they're sick as well?
I'm not sure. I mean, if they're really sick, I can't imagine that they're sitting at home running those lines. But a lot of them will study them and say, okay, I've got to go over these lines or the lyrics to songs. Yeah,
that's true. I bet memorizing the lyrics is really difficult sometimes.
Sometimes, you kind of forget that part, and then you realize, I've got to learn the songs too. Yeah. So that can be a challenge for them.
How does this play differ from previous ones you've done in the past?
Well, we did this show 10 years ago.
Really?
And I wanted to try and do it again because our technology has improved.
Yes.
So for this one, we are using a number of projected scenery elements. There is a Star Wars dream sequence.
Really?
So when they do their big fight with the lightsabers, we've got a Star Wars kind of feel to the walls, so you feel like you're kind of immersed in the movie. And then we have a scene where they're driving in a car, and we have projection images. So that's part of what has been kind of fun with this one, some of the tech issues that we've been able to do.
Yeah, sounds really cool, actually. What has been your favorite part of preparing for this play so far?
I think it's so fun to have them going through scenes, and they'll mention something that, because I was alive, obviously, and very active in the 80s, and they won't have a clue what it even is.
Yeah.
And then we have to explain it, and they go, oh, okay. And that's been kind of fun, reliving that. And I told them, I said, when your parents come to the show, they're going to know all of this. They're going to, I remember that. So.
So it's kind of a nostalgia factor as well.
Exactly. Well, and the play is written such that there is a narrator, and the narrator is one of the kids as an adult. And we brought back an alumni to do that. And so he sits on the side and he said, there I am doing this, or, I remember when this happened. And it makes the story flow a little differently. And it's been nice to have that fellow back joining us and helping.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think, if you had to pick one thing, is the main key to success in theater?
Oh my. Well, I think taking it seriously enough and being prepared.
Yeah.
If the kids are prepared, they will do a great job. And they always are. I mean, it may take them a bit, but they're never, people will say, aren't you worried about, are they going to get lines? But they don't want to look silly either.
Yeah.
So they are always prepared. By the time the show comes and we are doing it in performance, they bring it. They really do.
That's good. How are you expecting performances to go?
Well, I hope well. We are doing a performance, kind of greatest hits for the elementaries. They're coming over, and we're going to talk a little bit about theater, and we show them a couple numbers from this show, and that kind of helps us. And then we've got shows Friday night, Saturday night, and then Sunday afternoon. And by the time we get to Friday night, they should be ready. We've got a whole week here of pretty intense rehearsal.
Yeah. So, what is one thing you want people to know about this performance or theater in general?
Well, I hope people realize, I've had sometimes parents will say, oh, my kid's doing theater or my kid's taking a theater class. You know what? For me, it's so much more than that. It really is more about their friendships they're making, managing their time, figuring out how do I, if something goes wrong, you've got to figure it out on the fly, And so I've told parents before, I feel like we're really teaching life skills down there. Yeah. We're teaching them how to cope in the real world. We're having fun doing it, singing and dancing, but it's so much more that comes from just having to work with everybody and get things planned out for a performance.
I mean, from what you've told me, adaptability plays a huge part because you've had to adapt with people being sick, all kinds of things, if like a prop malfunctions.
You do. You have to figure it out. And if there's 900 people watching, you can't say, well, what do I do now? You have to just figure it out.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Kids have been great and resilient in that regard. And that's part of life. Yeah. Things don't always go as we plan. So how do we cope with that? So as I said, I really think, yes, we're doing performances, but in the end, it's all about learning to adapt and work with other people.
Yeah. So I just have one last question. Where can people get tickets if they want to come see the performance?
Well, they can go to pendletonplayers.com. There is a link. There have also been numerous posts on both Instagram and Facebook on our Pendleton Players sites that take you right to the ticket site. And if you are not a computer person, and some of our older folks aren't always computer savvy, you can go right to the door and buy one at the box office.
All right. Sounds cool. All right. Thank you so much for being here with me today. It has been great for you to spend some time to talk about theater, and we hope to see you all guys in 2 more weeks for our next episode.